everyone, I'm Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and today I'd like to share with you some outside-the-box ideas that I created using the contents of the December 2019 Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up! Titled Something for Everything. These monthly kits come straight to my mailbox and contain everything I need to make fun, creative paper crafting cards and projects. This month's kit contains supplies to make these 12 attractive all-occasion greeting cards, 4 of each of these 3 designs. The box also contains, of course, this publication with directions, tips, photos, details about the kit, and a link to a how-to video to help guide me in assembling. Plus, there are 2 items that I can use over and over again even after the consumables from my kit are used up. A mini ink pad and this awesome exclusive stamp set containing a huge variety of sentiments. A clear block, which was included free with my first kit for mounting and using my stamps, and my scissors are the only extra supplies that I need to provide. Paper Pumpkin kits are just $22 plus tax per month in the US. Shipping is included. You control which months you get your kits, and there's no commitment or obligation. These kits are produced through Stampin' Up!, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other Stampin' Up! Products. I'll be using some of these as I share my alternate projects. You can find the items I use listed below and linked to my online store. You can also look below for links to learning more about Paper Pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with exclusive ideas, gifts, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily, and if you're watching my video on YouTube, a link to my website where I have shared photos of these projects. If you're looking for ideas for past kits, visit my website at StampYourArtOut.com. Click on Paper Pumpkin in the top menu, then choose Recent or Older Posts. Since March of 2013, when Paper Pumpkin first began, I've been creating and sharing alternate projects so Paper Pumpkin subscribers can see that there's so many more possibilities, so many more options with those kit supplies. And that's what I'll be doing in this video. I'm excited to create with you, so let's get started. Before we begin, I just want to point out that I'll be using my full-size terracotta tile ink pad and these blocks here. These are ergonomic. They're just more comfortable in my hands. You can get both of these items in the online store. You do not need them though. Your clear block that you get in your first kit and your mini Stampin' Spot ink pad and terracotta tile will suffice. I also always use my snail adhesive, which kind of replaces some of the glue dots that oftentimes come in the kits. This time we do not have the glue dots. We have stickers and we have the mini dimensionals, or the regular size dimensionals, sorry about that. And so it's not like you need to substitute this for anything if you're going to make the cards as is. But I will be using this adhesive and these blocks and this ink pad. Let's start by bringing in some fun little K-cups. All right, I often make treat holders that hold candy in my videos. So today I thought I'd try something new. My husband, he really has been enjoying his coffee every morning lately and has been purchasing such a variety of these K-cups that I had a lot of fun picking which ones coordinated with the project that I'm going to share with you today. Also, you may have seen K-cup holders, which is what I'm going to make. You may have seen those out there made with like a full sheet of cardstock, but the Paper Pumpkin kits do not come with full sheets of cardstock, and so I did a little bit of my math work, my fun little playing around with numbers, and I came up with a K-cup holder for a single K-cup made from a half sheet of cardstock, which is what these pieces are. If you put them together, you have a full sheet of 8.5 by 11. Every card that the kits, well, typically every full-size card that the kits come with are made from a half sheet of cardstock folded in half. And so we're going to make a K-cup holder with a half sheet of cardstock. To make the K-cup holder, we are going to first insert our cardstock so that the long edge is going this way and the short edge is going this way. So we're going to score parallel to the long edge at 7/8 of an inch on each side. Then we're going to rotate it so that our patterned area of our card is coming in first, and we're going to score that at the halfway point, which is 2 1/8 inches. You'll find that mark 2 little notches over here, so that's 2 1/8 right there. Now before you move it, after you score it, you're going to actually do a little bit of trimming too. So we're going to bring our arm up, move our scoring blade out of the way, and then we'll come down with our cutting blade right on top of where that score line is at the 7/8 inch mark going this direction. And we're going to press down and pull out. We're going to do the same thing at the top. So you're going to start at the 7/8 inch mark or the score line that you had here. You're going to press down and push out. So we've got a score line going there plus 2 little cuts on the outside edges. Okay, we're going to move it now to 4 1/4 inches, which is where your paper is cut in half, or scored in half, sorry. So the card bases that came in this kit are all 8.5 by 5.5 with your score line at 4 1/4. That's the mark we're going to go to next. So 4 1/4 inches. It's already got a score line going through it. You've already pressed, it's already been pressed. So now you just need to take and move the cutting blade like we just did before and start at the 7/8 inch score line here. Push and pull and do the same thing at the top. So you're going to push and pull it, or push it away. Okay. Now we're going to move it to the 5/8 inch mark. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to score, we're going to bring in the cutting blade, press it down, and cut. Press it down and cut. 2 more. We're going to go to the 7 1/4 inch mark, and we're going to score, bring our cutting blade in, press and cut, press and cut. And then the last mark, which is at 8 1/8 inch, we are not going to score. We're just going to bring our cutting blade in, and we're going to press and cut, press and cut. Okay, because we don't want this part to bend in here. The next step is to take and remove a couple portions. So we're going to remove these 2 sections right here. So we're just going to position our card back in to our cutter going this direction so that we're cutting parallel to the long side at this little spot here, and we're going to cut up and away. So that's at the 2 1/8 inch mark, and push up and away. And if it's easier, you can just flip this over like that and do the other side. Same thing. Okay, we can now move our trimmer out of the way. These pieces here you can save and use for some other project later if you'd like. You can come in now and you can trim up and out. And actually, I'm sorry, you're going to cut kind of at an angle here. I've heard someone in the past call that a mitering type cut. So you're going to angle and then snip those 2 pieces out. And now we're going to miter or angle cut into these little tabs. After those areas have been removed, I'm just going to show you quickly how this is going to fold together so you get kind of a vision of how this little K-cup holder is going to work here. So we're going to put it together like that. These side pieces, of course, are going to come down and connect like that. And so we need to make a little hole to hold our K-cup. And you can do that in a couple different ways. You can either find a circle that's close to the size and trace it and cut with your paper snips. So I'll demonstrate that with this one here. And if you pull up the sides, you can kind of make sure that it's centered where you want it to go. So we'll take our sharp pencil and we'll draw our circle. Now we want our circle though to be, and I'm going to grab my ruler here, we want our circle to be 1 5/8 inches wide. So in order to achieve that, you can see that this circle is about 1/8 of an inch difference on either side. So we need to cut about 1/8 of an inch out as we go around. So we'll poke our scissors in and we'll just start. There we go, we've got it going. So now we want to stay about 1/8 of an inch out the whole time we're cutting. And it's okay if your circle isn't perfect. What's going to happen is when you put this little guy in and out, it's going to smooth out that circle so that it gets more perfect, right? Now you'll notice too that the K-cup only goes in so far. It's about 7/8 of an inch deep, which is why we have the 7/8 of an inch measurement to go all the way around here. You can also take and use a die, and this is the one that measures, of course, 1 5/8 inches across, and that comes from our layering circles dies. So if you have a die cutting machine and you have the layering circles, you can easily achieve that effect. You may have noticed in other K-cup treat holders that the punches are different diameters, and that's just because of the depth of how far this piece will go in. So we can now assemble. We're going to take our tear and tape adhesive and we're going to place a couple pieces, actually 3 pieces on the back side here. So we're going to do one across this section very close to the score line. We're going to do a couple more on the outer edges of these 2 tabs. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to put a piece on each of the angle cut tabs. And they can go right in the middle. So now it's time to stamp and do a little decorating. We're going to open up our terracotta tile ink pad and we're going to mount our stamp. So we're going to use the happy birthday stamp first. I like to put it upside down. And this is a larger stamp, so you'll want to take your D-size block that comes with your kit and angle it so that it fits. We'll go ahead and ink that up. And we're going to stamp this one off to the right-hand side of this, oops, not that section. This section up here, right below the circle. So it sits right below the cup, right there. Okay, and then up here we're going to have another sentiment, and that's going to be stamped onto one of our label pieces. So we're going to take our other stamp, and that one's going to say, "It's your day." We're bringing in a tool called the Embossing Buddy, and we're going to just pounce on the back of our sticker pieces that we want to use because we want to turn them into cardstock so that the pieces that stick out beyond the project will not have stickiness on the back of them. So I'm taking one of the flowers and I'm also going to grab one, actually just a portion of one of these stickers. And for this one, I'm not going to pounce on the back of it until I have stuck it down, because then I can show you another way of doing this. We didn't have to cover this whole back, but I just wanted you to see that you can create a non-sticker with your pieces. Alright, so now we've got this flower up here, and this piece is going to come below our label, right about there. So our label is going to cover up a majority of the connecting pieces right in there, so you can't see them. And this is the only portion now that we need to kind of get a little pounce onto. And now we've removed the sticky back on that. Now it's time to assemble. So we're going to grab our release paper from these tabs first. We're going to fold all of those tabs in, the yellow tabs down here, and we're going to connect the tabs to the back side of the longer middle section. I'm using this edge and the crease as a guide of where to meet those pieces up. Okay, now we can come in and we can remove the release paper from these sections. I went and grabbed my Take Your Pick tool, which helps a lot. We're going to bend those two sections in. We'll curve this down and we'll connect. And actually you want this to kind of be folded back on itself. You're not using that yet. So we're going to bring this straight down, connect on that side, and connect on this side. Okay, now we can pull this back and we can bring this piece together with this piece. Okay, now we can add this to the front. We're going to put that on dimensionals. And then I'm going to add another flower down here. And another flower in up here. We'll just kind of tuck it like so. And we're going to add some rhinestones right to the center. All right, and then we've got our fun little K-cup that coordinates right inside there. I've got another one that I made. So this one here I made the same way, of course, stamped the front before I assembled. I stamped on one of the banner pieces, and then the little leaves here are just punched out from our leaf punch and some vellum paper. And that's pretty easy to do. So you just take and punch them, put adhesive along the back side, stick the leaves to the back side of it so that they're coming out here. And then I just added one of the little flowers this time, and I only added it with a tiny little piece of the dimensionals. So I just cut one of the edge pieces, so I got a tiny portion. All right, one more tip on these boxes. Before you actually do the assembling, which I realized when we did the last one, you'll want to do all of your creases before you actually assemble, because it's going to make it a lot easier for when you put the box together. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this last one. And I'm guessing some of you, as I was assembling that, kept thinking to yourself, you didn't stamp this first. And I wasn't planning to, because this is a very dark color here. So I'm going to stamp on a banner piece instead and add it after the box has been assembled. All right, let's go ahead and decorate. And there we have another one. This one's kind of a little more masculine because it doesn't have the flowers on it, just the foliage. I don't know. I love it. So I used the shaded spruce on this for the ink for this one. I used, of course, terracotta tile, which is the color that comes in your kit on this one. And then I used early espresso because it brought out the dark color for this K-cup on this last one. Let me give you one last glance at each of these. On that last one that I just made, I used the leaf punch to punch out from the gold sticker sheet, because you have a lot of excess gold stickers, sticker area on there. You might as well use it, right? And what a fun gift to give to that friend or family member who drinks coffee. The cards in this kit are super pretty. And so let's say you decide that you want to make all the cards as is. Well, the wonderful thing about this kit is that we're going to have extra supplies. You're going to have a ton of extra supplies. You're going to have, let's see here, 4 of these pieces here, the ones that kind of have an angle cut. So those labels you'll have, no wait, you'll have 6 of those. You'll have 6 of those. You'll have 4 of these, the banner shape labels, and then you'll have 6 extra of these labels that have the little gold on the end. On the sticker sheet here, you're going to have 8 extra large flowers. You're going to have 42 extra small flowers, and then you'll have 16 extra leaves. So you'll have plenty to work with. And what I recommend getting then, if you want to continue making cards, is just a pack of these 20 cards and envelopes that have the gold edge to them. So we're going to go ahead and make a wedding card with that. We'll take our congratulations stamp, we'll mount that onto our clear block, and we'll grab our terracotta tile ink, and we're going to ink onto one of the banners. After stamping that piece, then we'll go ahead and grab any of our extra flowers that we want to use. Now, if you have 20 cards, you obviously won't be able to do all your cards the same, but you'll have at least 16 of these labels to use. So 16 of the cards can have this type of look where you've got a label sticking up like that. The rest of the cards you could just stamp directly onto your card base. And then, of course, with your large flowers, 8 of those, you'd be able to make like 8 cards with a large flower and a couple leaves, and then maybe 12 more cards with 3 little flowers. Now here's a creative thing that you can do with your extra sticker, your gold sticker portions of your sheets. You can again use this punch, and you can come in and you can punch some leaf pieces like this. You will probably only be able to get maybe 1 or 2 at the most out of each of your remaining portions of the gold sheets, but you also have this punch, and this is called our sprig punch. And if we just cut a little section away here so we can get the punch to fit, we can bring our punch in, and you know what, maybe we'll come from this side here. We can bring our punch in, you have to get creative if you already have your stickers still on the sheet. Okay, we'll bring our punch in here, and you can see that I've punched a section of that sprig, and then I can do the same thing on another area of the sticker sheet. Being careful not to ruin stickers that are still there. Okay, so you can get really creative with how you punch these pieces out, but then you've got extra gold stickers, or extra gold leaves I should say, to add to your cards. So let's go ahead and just build a card here real quickly. So as you can see from my finished card, I did not care too much about spreading out my extra supplies to make 20 more cards, but it's possible. I also want to mention that you can get extra dimensionals in the online store if you're running low on those, or look in a past kit, because we get plenty of adhesives. And then I have these champagne rhinestone basic jewels. These are going to debut on January 3rd. They're going to be in the spring catalog collection of products, and they're very similar to the rhinestones that you get in your kit. These have more of a gold tone to them, and these are more of a pinker tone, but they work really well with this kit. So now we have a little bling on our wedding card. Okay, let's do the next card. The next card that I'm going to make for you, this style of card has been around for years. I remember making one a long, long time ago, and so I'm going to go ahead and share that with you just in case you've never made one before. This kit is perfect for it. We're going to cut a piece that is 3.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. So you can cut your cardstock in this direction. This is terracotta tile. It's the color that coordinates with the ink in the kit. And now we're going to rotate, and we're going to score at 1.5 inches in this direction and 3.5 inches in this direction. And we're going to fold up and down, and we've got kind of a little curve like this. So it's kind of like an S. Okay, now we're going to take and do some measuring and marking and more trimming. So let's grab our pencil and our ruler, and let's mark at the bottom where this crease is here. So this is going to be kind of a flap, an edge to that sticks out here. That's not going to be cut anymore. It's just going to be punched. But we're going to take the score, so this area down here, and we're going to mark a 1/2 inch in on each side. And then we're going to trim with our trimmer through those pieces. So from here up to that corner, from here up to that corner. So you'll want to hold your trimmer down very firm and make sure that you've lined up this point with this point and cut. And it doesn't have to be, you know, all the way exactly to that corner, but you want to have that angle. So now we're going to turn it in the other direction and do the same thing. Line up this point and this point in the channel of your trimmer. Hold it very firm and slice. Now you can come in and do a little erasing if you see any pencil marks still down there. We're going to grab our detailed trio punch and we're going to insert, we'll open this all the way up, we're going to insert our cardstock, this flap, we're going to insert it into this top, this corner punch, the rounded corner punch section, and we'll do the same thing to this side. And now this area measures 1.5 inches by 3.5. So we're going to trim one of the envelopes in the kit so that we can have a fun layer on the front. And we're going to cut this. First we'll just trim off the flap here. And you're going to have extra envelopes if you make those K-cup things, right? So you can spare one. All right, so that is 1.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches. And we'll try to conserve so that we have a little bit extra on the end there to use on another project. So now this is going to be 3.5 inches in this direction, and now you can take and, you know, use that for something else. Okay, let's grab this and add this to that front flap area. And I suppose we could have added this first and then done our corner rounding. Oh well. Okay. Then the next step is to take and connect these pieces all together to hold them nice and firm, and we're going to do that with some ribbon. This is our terracotta tile scalloped linen ribbon. And we're just gonna grab, let's see how many inches of that we have. We have, let's see, that's 12 plus another 4, about 16 inches, and I should have trimmed this with my ribbon scissors, but I guess my paper scissors was sharp enough. And that's just gonna go around like this. We probably have more than we need here. Because we're just going to tie a knot. It's a stiffer ribbon, so you have to really manipulate it when you work with it. Now if we're going to have this face the other direction, there we go. So what we have here is a little flower pot, and some of you probably recognized that as I was making it. I'm going to grab that envelope base that we had cut just to kind of use as a guide. I want to show you that we want to be able to fit this into an envelope this size. So when we put the flowers into the pot, they can't go up any higher than this. So you'll want to have an envelope next to you to kind of guide you when you start building the flowers. So how do we get the flowers in there? Well, we want to put a little insert in there first, and that's going to hold the flowers. So we're going to grab our trimmer again, and we're going to grab this cardstock we had already cut into it. Let's see, this is the 8.5 direction. We're going to cut a piece that is 2.5 inches wide by 4.25. And with this, I can make another flower pot card if I want to, because here, if I were to trim this off here, I've got another flower pot and another insert size piece. So you can get 2 from 1 piece of cardstock. Okay, but now we need to have a little area where we can stamp. So we're going to trim down this envelope a little bit more too. Let's go ahead and trim off just a small little portion on the edge there to open up the envelope. And then we'll trim here at, let's see, it was 2.5 inches wide. So we're going to make this one 2 3/8 inches. You could make it 2 1/4 if you want to. I like to work with 1/8, I don't know why. And then we'll trim this down. Oops. Okay, well, now we might have to trim it a little bit less because my cutting blade must need sharpening. Yeah, we're probably going to have to trim this down a little bit more now. So 4 inches by 2 1/4. That will fit better. That's what I get, right? Okay, so this piece is going to go onto here, and we're going to stamp that with one of our sentiment images from the kit. I like the one that says, where is it? Here it is. Because this is something that you would send to somebody if they were, you know, not feeling good. A pot of flowers, right? So we're going to use the Feel Better Soon stamp, and it won't fit all the way across. So what we're going to do is mask. We're going to cover up the soon area, or not stamp it. Actually, we can do that because we don't necessarily have to use the masking technique, but I will demonstrate that for you the second time when I want to just stamp the soon. So let's just ink up the Feel Better, and we'll stamp that onto, and we want to have it positioned so that we can see it. So we're going to have that stamped about there, which is about 1.5 inches down. And now we want to clean off our stamp. So we'll bring in our scrub and our mist, and we'll spray onto our side that we clean our stamp onto, and then we'll dry onto our other side. And I'm laughing because I was going to show you with just masking tape. You can use masking tape. My child stole my masking tape from my room. We're going to use washi tape, which also works very well, but you don't have to use washi tape. Masking tape is awesome. So we're going to cover up what we don't want to get ink on, and we're going to come back in and we're going to ink up our word soon. And now we can peel this away. And this just kind of guarantees that you're not going to get ink where you don't want it. So we can bring this piece back in, line it up, and now we have our sentiment fitting into that narrower space. We'll put adhesive on the back side, and I'm going to get the adhesive right up to those edges because I want to make sure that as this insert goes up and down, in and out of the card, that the edges won't start to get mangled up or anything like that. This is where we'll sign the card. This is where we'll start adding flowers. So you can see as we put this in here that we have a little bit sticking out here, and that's what we can build our flowers onto. Dimensionals come in the kit. Awesome, because we're going to use those to help to keep the flowers from getting, you know, pressed up against the edge of the flower pot. So we'll just start building flowers, and I think that, you know, if you can do it like this, it'll totally work. And I think we'll start with maybe some leaves. So you kind of want to map out where your flowers are going to go, and then you can add everything in a permanent basis. Okay. And there we go. We did it. Such a pretty card. and it fits into our envelope. Again, make sure you use an envelope as a guide. Make sure that you remove the sticky areas with the embossing buddy. I even added a piece of envelope scrap, a 1" by 2" piece fit on the back side of my flowers just to kind of hold them all together with a little bit more, I don't know, just some more support. And then I've got dimensionals all across the top that I just added the whole thing to. And you notice when I was creating this, I was building it up and just kind of eyeballing it as I went. So I took and added the leaves first because I know I wanted those in the background, and then I added the flowers, and I just kind of held everything on my hands, inserted a leaf here and there, kept putting it down and looking at it because you want to make sure that it's built the way you like it. So there is our flower pot card for a friend who needs kind of a little get well wish. And there we go. I'm now going to revive another fun fold from a long, long time ago. This card is called a teepee card, sometimes also called as a pyramid card. And for this card, you need 4 pieces of cardstock that are 4 inches by 4 inches. So we're using the cards in the kit, obviously. And we've got our 4 squares, 4 by 4 pieces that we just trimmed up. Now what we want to do is we want to score on the diagonal. So our card is going to be set up so that your images actually are kind of diagonal. So let's just cover up a portion of this for a minute. So this piece here is going to sit more like that. So you want to look at the pattern of your paper, especially if you have a directional image like this, and you want to make sure that the flowers aren't going downward, right? So we can either tip it this way or we can tip it this way. On the solid pieces, it obviously does not matter. Okay, so here are our score lines. Just kind of emphasize them so you can see them better. Now we're going to connect our piece. Oh, before we connect, we're actually going to put a slit into one. You can connect your card because your card is going to open up and lie flat, and you have to kind of connect 2 ends together in order for it to stand in a pyramid or teepee shape. So you can use Velcro, you could use magnets. We're going to just cut a little slit so that they connect that way. So in order to do so, we're going to figure out what the pattern is going to be for our card. Let's see here. So it could go like this, or I could have it go like this. It doesn't really matter. I think I'm going to have it go this way. You can even have it go like this if you want to see more of the flowers. I want to use one of these spaces though to stamp onto, so I think I'm going to have it go this way and stamp on this one. This piece here is going to get the slit then. So we're going to rotate it so that we see our diagonal, and then we're going to rotate it one more time. We're going to bring our square into our trimmer so that it reaches, so that this edge reaches the 1 3/4 inch mark. We're going to start at the 1/2 inch, well, that would be 3.5 inches. We're going to start at the 3.5 inch mark in this direction, which is a 1/2 inch in from the bottom with our trimming blade. I'm going to start right about there. We're going to press down and we're going to cut up to that score line. Hang on a minute. There we go. Cutting right up to that score line. And you can pull your blade back to make sure you're there. Okay, so now we have our slit. That piece is now going to be the piece that helps to connect our card together. So for this, if we're going to connect in this direction, this piece is going to get connected to this piece like that. I recommend a strong adhesive. Since you're going to have a 3D card, we're going to go ahead and use our tear and tape adhesive. And we're going to make our adhesive run all the way from this corner down to this edge. And then we can also put a piece here. And you don't necessarily need to have any in the middle, but you can see approximately where that piece is going to connect with the other one. So we can now make a straight line kind of going in this direction, or just have a small piece in the middle. If you're going to use glue, you have to be a little bit more careful because glue tends to seep out. Okay, so we're going to connect these two pieces together. And when we do so, I recommend just removing one piece of adhesive at a time. Okay, and we want our card to fold, so you want to be able to connect those two pieces inward towards each other. If you have a little edge showing here, that's totally fine, but they need to be able to fold onto each other, okay? Off camera, I was able to bring them a little closer together. I didn't have my cardstock all the way in. Now we'll remove this backing. This will be the next one. And then this backing. And you can connect them. With tear and tape adhesive, it's so sticky that if you make a mistake, you want to be able to lift it up without having too much adhesive down. So that's why I only removed that one side. And I was able to slowly peel it up a little bit and fix it. Okay, now we want to connect this piece over here. So we're going to do the same thing. Adhesive on the back side of this section, adhesive on the front side of this section, and then just a little bit in the middle. When you insert this card into your envelope, you can just, oh, it doesn't line up too well there. I'll have to grab my bone folder and adjust it a little bit because it's slightly off. But you know what? I don't think it's going to affect the card. You can see the white edges. That's totally fine. Okay, when we insert this into our envelope, we just fold it flat like this, and you can fit it in there. You can also have it completely folded down like this and fit it in if you want to. I think it's easier, less bulk to mail it if you have it flat like this. So how do you prop this up? You take and, again, I need to go grab my bone folder to get these creases nice. You just go like this and insert it, and you have a standing card. It's totally easy, much less bulk than like a Velcro dot or a magnet or anything like that. It's just a little quick insert. So let's go ahead and decorate all the sides, and we'll have a finished card. Oh, and something else to note with this, if you want to, you can have a message on the inside like this, but this really is the main card, and it's meant to be on display. So your message, your sentiment can be on the outside, and any personal note can be on the inside. I've had this question asked of me before. How does your recipient know how to put the card together once they receive it? It's a great question. And I laugh and I think to myself, well, you don't want to, print out all these directions on how to put their card together. It's just basically just call them or text them and message them. Say, did you get my card? Did you know how to put it together? And then you can have a great laugh and you can explain to them how to put it together just on the phone or whatever. Because yeah, there's so many fun folds out there that sometimes things like this are not that obvious, right? Even though there's a slit there, it's not that obvious. So just, it gives you a good excuse to connect with them personally. Okay, let's decorate it. So there it is. I have to laugh too because I meant for all three of these sections to be seen. And so I probably should have had my slit on this side instead, because then we would have seen the terracotta tile, the crushed curry, and the floral. But no, I made a mistake. Or I could have overlapped them differently too. So it's mainly crushed curry and then the floral side. So, but I have a fun finished card, and you can see it from two different sides depending on where it is in the room. You could even decorate this back side if you wanted to. But I have my sentiment, I have my little decoration, and again it folds flat and it sticks into my card. Well, let's see here. I might have to do this now. Because I put the little gold thing sticking out. There, now it'll fold, it'll go into my envelope. Oh my goodness, Rachel. Okay, so next project. My last one that I'm going to share with you is a scrapbook page, and it is based off of this fun little decorative strip that will be at the bottom of the page. This strip is 11 inches by 3 inches. So we're gonna cut some of our remaining card sections into little pieces here to fit in that section. Let's take and make a 2.5 inch wide strip of the shaded spruce green. And let's go ahead and, yeah, let's just make this 2.5 inches for now. We can always adjust the other direction. And then this piece here, I believe, yes, it's already 2.5 inches. And I just want the terracotta tile section of this. So this is about 1 3/4 inches wide by 2.5 inches tall. That will fit here on this end. This piece is going to fit here, although we might shrink that down a little bit. And yeah, let's cut this one to a square right now. So right now it's 2.5 inches by, let's make that another 2.5 inches. And then we'll do our math. We'll do our fun math. Oh, I think we fit. Okay, so if this is 5.5 and this is 2.5 and this is 1 3/4 wide and they're all 2.5 inches tall, they will fit into this 11 by 3 inch strip of basic black cardstock with a 1/4 inch border all the way around. That worked out well. Okay, awesome. Next we're going to take and start just embellishing these pieces. Let's start with the gold foil, the largest of the foliage, the largest of the leaf pieces. And we'll peel that off and stick that down onto the green section. I also added some gold foil leaves on the orange section here. We're just going to tape every piece down now because we've got them where we want them. All right, next we're going to take our black ink and we're going to just ink up Celebrate. So we're eliminating the word let's. And we're going to stamp it slightly off to the right, but not too far. Because we're going to trim off just this little portion here. We're going to place that there, and that's going to reach across those two sections. And then we're going to add some flowers. And remember the technique that I had with the embossing buddy. We're going to remove some of these flowers from the sticker sheet, and we're going to pounce up on the back with the embossing buddy to cover up that stickiness. All right, and I sort of have a layout that I want to go with. I'm going to add a few more pink flowers over here. I use the ones that don't have the sticky on the back so that I can kind of lay out where I want them to go, but I think actually I'm going to bring this up on dimensionals. And so this flower will not be on top, unless I stick one on top like that. I could do that. But let's go ahead and start putting these down and seeing where they go. So I added the flowers and I added a few rhinestones from the kit to decorate it up a little bit. And I kind of like the idea of the flowers trailing off. We're going to now add this all to the 12 by 12 page. We're going to use shaded spruce, and this is going to go on the bottom. I took an 8.5 by 11 piece of basic black and a second one, and I trimmed off 3/4 inch, and that's going to go on the top. So we'll just go ahead and stick these down now. Okay, so that's going to go there, and it's about a 1/2 inch around because we have 11 inch wide paper and this is 12 inch wide for the base, the shaded spruce. But the dimension in between here is going to be 1/4 inch, just like it is between these little sections here. So I think it gives it a nice balance, and up here is where the photos would go. And you can even add a few more trailing flowers if you'd like to, a few more trailing rhinestones just to kind of bring that flow up if you want to. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my photos first on the page and see if I have room for that. So there, we did some fun stuff in this video, didn't we? Now that you've watched my video, I hope that you can see that there's so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more with these super affordable kits. I hope you gained some inspiration from what I've shared. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can catch more paper pumpkin videos that I've shared using past kits and more that I'll share with future kits. Also, be sure to visit my website at stampyourartout.com so that you can view close-up photos of these projects, see photos of other paper pumpkin kit ideas in future and past posts, and see many other great ideas that I share using Stampin' Up! Products. You'll find my website link in my description below. And if you want to get spoiled with extra goodies, gifts, prizes, and extra exclusive paper pumpkin project ideas, remember to get your subscription started with me as your demonstrator, Rachel Tessman in Andover, Minnesota. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.